So another source that we know that
Ernie, please come to Yavne tomorrow, 7:30, please.
Oh, shut up, Walter.
You're recording.
I will try. I will try.
You're recording that, Mario. It's not nice.
Okay. So I might have thought, Gemara said, that maybe we should burn the chametz the night of the 15th. So, and we need ach to tell me that, because otherwise, because it says yomim, it said shivas yomim, so or lo yumatzeh. So the Gemara says, we don't need it to teach me that there has to be burning at night. There's a hekesh between destroying the chametz and the isra of achilas chametz, and there's a connection to achilas chametz, lachilas matzah. The prohibition of eating chametz connects to eating matzah. So the hekesh between hashbasha seor lachilas chametz tichsiv shivas yamim seor lo imativ matecha. There's a lot of Bal Yimot say for 7 days kichol ochel machmetzes v'nechrusa, because anybody who eats chametz gets karetz. So vachilas chametz, vachilas matzah. The prohibition of chametz is connected. When is there a prohibition of vachilas chametz? When you eat matzah, d'chsiv kol machmetzes lo sochelu b'chol moshvei sechem tochlu matzos. So there's a connection to when you eat matzahs, you have to not eat chametz. Uksiv beba matzah by erev tochlu matzahs. It tells us that we eat matzah at night. So that teaches us that there's a biur. The biur already has to be done at night. Not, you don't wait till the morning of the 15th. Maybe it comes to include burning it the 14th at night, because it says by Yom Ksiv. So you got to do it in the daytime. Freit the Gemara, why do we do it at noontime? The Ema meets Safra, maybe it should be done in the morning already. So ach chilek, it means it divides it. Not the whole day. Part of the day there's no chi of burning, part of the day there is. So that's why noontime is midaraisa when you should burn it. Now the Chachamim, we had yesterday advanced that by either 1 or 2 hours as a gzeira, as a harchaka. But the ikar chi of beer starts by Yisr Chametz, which Ach brings it to midday on the 14th. The verb Shmuel Tanmatzino Arbasar Shenikru Rishon.
What other cases does Ach? There's other cases where Ach refers to too, right? The Chalek.
We're going to see Ach. We're going to see Ach is Chalek by Havara, by burning on Shabbos. But there it doesn't Chalek it part of the day, yes, part of the day, no. There we learn Ach for something else. We're going to have that tonight. The very Rabbi Shmuel Tana. It was learned in the yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel. Matzinu arbos or shenikru rishon. It says by Yom HaRishon, but that doesn't refer to the first day of Pesach. It actually refers to Erev Pesach. Sheneamar barishon ba'arbos or Yom HaChodesh. So it refers to the 14th as Rishon. So that for Rabbi Shmuel, that's enough reason to explain why the beer takes place on the 14th. Yeah, we have other examples where even though the word Rishon normally means first, it sometimes refers to before. Like the Amar Kra, Harishon Adam Tivole, was Adam created first? No. There's other things that were created before him. Freit the Gemara, Elameato, if you're going to learn that Bayom Arishon means the day before. So when it says by Lula, Lekachtem lachem Bayom Arishon, so Hachanami Rishon to be Karamash, does that mean that you have to shake the lulav of Erev Sukkos? Or is a shiny Hasam, the Chsiv, Usmachtem lifnei Hashem lokechem shivas yomi. Ma shvi shvi lachag, Afrishon rishon lachag. So there, shvi refers to the seventh day of the Yom Tov. So by lulav, when it says rishon, it's referring to the first day of the Chag. Freik the Gemara, by Pesach, where you're trying to say that rishon refers to the 14th. Ochanami ksiv ach bayom harishon tashbisu. And Shivas Yomi Matzos Techelu. So why not say there, just like Shivas Yomi refers to Shiva B'Chag, Yom HaRishon refers to Yom Rishon B'Chag. And for the Gemara, Imkei Nichtov Kra Rishon. Fine. If it would have just said Rishon, we could have learned like you. But HaRishon with the Heya Yediyah Lamali, Shma Mino L'Chedamara, that it means the 14th, not the 15th. By Lulav, it also says, if you're going to tell me that Harishon always refers to moving it up to Erev, so Lulav should be moved up to Erev Sukkot as well. The Su, another problem. Hasam ksiv bayom Harishon Shabboson, uvayom Hashmini Shabboson. It says by Lulav, you have a Yontif on the first day of Sukkot, you have a Yontif on the 8th day. Ema Rishon de Mikara Mashma. So how can you say that Rishon refers to the day before? Where's the shiny Hasam to Amar Kra Uvayom Hashmini Shabboso? Ma Shmini Shmini Dechag. That's referring to the 8th day of the Yontif, which is Shmini Atzeres. Af Rishon Rishon Dechag. So that's over there by Sukkot, but by Pesach we don't have this problem. So then, it only had to say Rishon. Why in a Chanami did it say Harishon? Lamali lemeute Chol to tell me that there's no Isra Malach on Chol HaMoed. Chol HaMoed, Rishon or Shmini Nafk. It says Bayom Harishon Shabboson, which means you cannot do work. Bayom Hashmini Shabboson means on the 8th day you cannot do work. All the other days you can work. Or it says still Itzrich. I needed a drasha of Harishon to tell me that there's no Isra Malach on Chol HaMoed. Sal Kedai Dichai Martar Hoyel Dichsiv Rachmana Uva Yom Hashmini Vav Moisif Al Inyan Rishon. That the Vav is additive on the first. So just like on Yom HaRishon there was no work, Chol HaMoed there's no work, and if Yom HaShmini adds to it, Afilim Chol HaMoed Kamash Malon, that I have HaRishon to say that you do not have a prohibition of Malacha on Chol HaMoed. So the Gemara says, you should have made it easy for yourself. Lo lichtav Rachmana lo Vav. Don't say Uvayom, and don't say Hashmini, and then you would have had a problem. That's kasha number 1. Visu Hasam dechsiv bayom harishon mikra kodesh yelachem kol melechas avodah lo sasu. Does that mean that you don't do malach on Erev Yontif? There's a special drasha why these rishons were needed. The Talmud Rebbe Shmuel, Bishar Shlosha Rishon, because of these 3 rishons, Rishon by Pesach and by Sukkot and by Lulav, Zachu Lishlosha Rishon. We merited 3 other rishons. What's this? Number 1, Lahachri Zar Shalesa, who was a Rishon. He was the firstborn. Levinim Beis HaMikdash, which is also a Rishon. The Lishmo Shel Mashiach. Lahachri Zar Shalesa D'chsiv Vayetzei HaRishon Admoni Kulo Kader Seyar. Esav came out first. Levinim Beis HaMikdash D'chsiv Kisei Kavod Mara Merishon Mekami Geshenu. Beis HaMikdash is also referred to as a Rishon. The Lishmo Shel Mashiach D'chsiv Rishon L'Tzion Hinei Hinam, which is referring to the Mashiach. Now, Rava learns that the halacha that bir chametz takes place midday erev yontif from a different limud. It says lo sishchat al chametz dam zivchi. Don't shech the korban pesach while you have chametz. Lo tishchat ha-pesach v'adayin chametz kayim. Now, when do we shech the korban pesach? Noontime erev pesach, bein arbayim, which starts noon. So if you can't have chametz when you shech the korban pesach, it's clear you have to be mavar the chametz before noontime. Maybe it's not a uniform time. Maybe each, remember, you can start shechting your korban pesach noontime, but some people shecht it at 1 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock. You could shecht it whatever you wanted in the afternoon. So maybe it was individualized, and maybe everybody could eat chametz until they shechted the korban pesach. For Harold, he would eat chametz till 3 p.m. For Mario, he would eat it till 2 p.m. That's what the Gemara's question. Maybe kol chad v'chad ki shachit. So the Gemara says zman shchita rachmana. When was the zman shchita permitted? But noontime. So that's when you may not have chametz. Tali namachni. There's a baraisa to prove what we just learned. It says ach bayom harishon tashbisu so'ami batechem. On the first day, you shall make sure to destroy Seor from your houses. It's Me'erev Yontiv. Even though it's by Yom HaRishon, it's referring to Erev Yontiv. Eino Elav Yontiv Atzma. Maybe it refers that you have to destroy the Chametz on the first day of Yontiv. Talmud Loimer Lo Sishchat Al Chametz Dam Zivchi. Lo Sishchat is a Pesach V'adayin Chametz Kaim Di Rabbi Shmuel. So we see Rabbi Shmuel supports this din of Rava, that is connected to the Shchitas Korban Pesach. That's by that time you have to do Bir Chametz. Rabbi Kiva Omer Einot Tzarich. We don't need that limud. Harehu Omer Ach Bayom Harishon Tashbisu Somi Batechem Uksiv Kom Lachalo Isasu. Now it says on Yontif you may not do work. Umatzinu lavar sheyav malacha. Burning is an av malacha. So you can't burn on Yontif. So this havamina that you can do it on Yontif doesn't exist because kom lacha lo isasu. So it's clearly related to erev Yontif. Now, this the Gemara is going to prove to us that Rabbi Akiva does not hold of hoyel. There's a hoyel that since you have permission to use fire to cook your food for oichel nefesh, you could use fire for other things. But there are those who don't learn that hoyel. So Rabbi Kiva clearly doesn't learn that hoyel. That hoyel, shehutra, oichel nefesh, it's hutra for other purposes. There's a third Tana, Rabbi Yosi Oimer Einot Tzarich. You also don't need the limud of lo sishchat es pesach, lo sishchat al chametz dam zivchi, because Arei Oimer ach bayom rishon tashbisu sormi batecha. Now, Rabbi Yosi understand, may Erev Yontiv or Erev Yontiv. Does that mean Erev Yontiv 14th, or maybe it's the first day of Yontiv the 15th? Talmud Lomer Ach Chilek. So Ach tells you part of the day is beer, and part of the day is not beer. Now it can't be Yontiv, it'd be Yontiv Atzmo Mishari. That would not be chametz. You already have to get rid of chametz from the night before when you're eating matzah. So it can't be that part of the day would be permitted because you're already preventing. You have to have beer chametz already from the night before. That's how Rabbi Yossi proves that it has to be referring to Erev Yontiv. Because which we said by Erev talking about matzahs. So that's three-way Tanaitic machlokes. However, Shema Minom Rabbi Kiva Tlas. From Rabbi Kiva's Shita, we see in Rabbi Kiva 3 dinim. Shema Minom Ein Bir Chametz Ela Sreifa. Now, we're going to see in the next parak, Kol Shah, a famous machlok is how do you do tashbisu? How do you destroy chametz? According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's only sreifa. Now, Rabbi Kiva, who learned the proof that it cannot refer to yontif because you're not allowed to burn on yontif. Well, what about bittul? Bittul in your heart, nullification is also a method of tashbisu. Or you could throw it away in the river, or give it to a dog. So Rabbi Yehuda holds ein bir chametz al sreifa, the next Mishnah. Rabbi Kiva obviously holds the same thing. Because if you could get rid of it any way, like by throwing it in the sewer, so what did it make a difference if because of the first day of Yontif you can't use fire? Must be ein bir chametz al sreifa. That's number one. Shma mina havara lechalek yotzas. That havara is written separately by the dinim of Shabbos. There is a machlokes. It already says lo sasem malacha, don't do work. So why did it say lo saviru b'machane? That it wrote a special pasuk that you're not allowed to light a fire on Shabbos. Why? We already know lo sasem malacha. So one learns that ach is havara is lachalek yotzas. That you might think that if I do all 39 malachas in one period of forgetfulness, maybe I only bring one chates. So no, the Torah wrote one of the malachas separately to tell you that if you do it b'shogeg, each malacha you'd have to bring 39 different malachas. Other people says havara lulav yotzas. That the reason why the Torah wrote havara as a special pasuk is because different than all other malachas of Shabbos, all of the 39 malachas, where you get kares or you get skila, by havara it's only a malchus. So that's the machlokes whether havara lechalek yotzos to separate different chatos or lelav yotzos. Shma mina lo amrinan hoyel v'hutra.
According to Rabbi Kiva, how would he, if Pesach comes out Motzi Shabbos, how would he be get tashbisu on the?
You got to do it on. You do it on Friday. You do it on the 13th. That's how we do it.
I mean, we have, let's say we have a Shabbos. If Shabbos is Erev Pesach, so we have to have Shabbos Shudas. We have to have, Lechem Mishnah, and you can't have matzah because it's Erev Pesach.
No, so you do it in the morning. You at 8:00 in the morning before the Zman Biur.
Right.
You have two challahs. You eat it all up, and then you take a walk around the block. Then you come back and you make a motzi again.
I know, but according
to
Rav Akiva, the only way that you can get rid of it is by streifa.
You do it symbolically on Friday. We do streifas chametz on Friday when Erev Pesach is Shabbos.
No, so according to Akiva, what do you do with the lechem mishnah that you have the crumbs that you have, for example, on Shabbos morning? What do you do with the crumbs?
You eat it. You were Makayim Sreifa the day before, and that's how you're Makayim Tashbisu.
Okay.
Yeah, no other way.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to see how we paskin. We don't paskin that ein bir Sreifa ela Sreifa. We paskin. That's why we do bittul.
Yeah.
When we're mavatal chametz after bir chametz after b'dikas chametz in the night and in the morning. We use bittul. So this machlokes within the Tanakh in Perakol Shah, Daf Chaf Aleph. Famous machlokes in the Mishnah there between the Tanakh and Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda holds ein bir chametz ela sreifa.
Yeah.
But the Tanakh holds no. You can do it. You can be mavatel belibo, and that we paskin that way. We don't paskin ein bir chametz ela sreifa. So for us, it's not a problem. According to Rabbi Kiva, I think they did it symbolically on Friday. Yeah. We also do it symbolically on Friday. We make a bir chametz as well on the 13th, when Erev Pesach falls on Shabbos, I believe. Now, we haven't had that for a few years, but I believe we do. Remember, if you travel, you can do b'dikas chametz even before the 14th.
Without a bracha? Without a
Without a
bracha.
bracha. Without a bracha. And the strafe also might be done without a bracha when you do it on the 13th. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So this last Shmamina Lomina Hoyel V'Hutra Avar L'Tzar Chutra Nami Shalom L'Tzar. This Hoyel that since burning is allowed for Eichel Nefesh, it's allowed for other things. Rabbi Kiva clearly didn't hold like that. Torah Shivas Yamin Sa'or Lo Yamatze B'Vatechem. 7 days you can't have chametz. By Yiro, by Yamatze. Ma Tamud Lo Yamar. Now, why do you need by Yamatze? Alok Fanem Lo Yiro Lecha Sa'or. V'lo Yira Lecha Chametz. V'chol V'lecha. The Pishanem are Lo Yira Lecha, so you shouldn't see it. Shalcha Iataro, Aval Ataro Shalachem Shal Gavoa. You can see chametz of goyim and chametz that belongs to Hegdish. That's the drasha from Lecha. Your chametz you can't see, but chametz of Gentiles and chametz of Beis Hamikdash you could see. Yachol Yatmin v'Yikabel Pigdonis Ben Anochri. Does that mean you're allowed to bury chametz like your own, or you could accept as a pikodon? Your neighbor Goy is going to China, and he brings you over 10 loaves of bread to watch for him. Is that permitted? Talmud Lemer Lo Yimotze. That you cannot do. So Eli Ela B'Nochri Shelo Kibashno. That's a Nochri, someone that you're not associated with, that you haven't conquered. Vein Shorim Chabachotzer, he doesn't live with you. What about Nochri Shekibashno? Nochri that's under your thumb. V'Shorim Chabachotzer, he lives in your courtyard. How do you know that you can't keep his chametz either? Minayin Talmud Lemer Lo Yimotze B'Vatechem. Eli Ela Shebuvatechem. That's burying it in your house. What about Baboyres Pesachim of Moralis Minayin? Talmud Lemer B'Chol Gvulecha. B'Chol Gvulecha adds even caves and ditches that you're not allowed to. Maybe I would say only in houses. But maybe B'Gvulin, maybe other places, not your house, it's only your chametz. Period. However, that it all applies to everybody's chametz. Talmud Lemer Sa'or L'Gzer Shalom. Nemer Sa'or B'Vatim. It says the word Sa'or by houses. It says Sa'or L'Ymatz B'Vatechem. But Nemer Sa'or B'Gvulin Lo Yerlecha Sa'or anywhere. Ma Sa'or B'Vatim. The chametz in your houses, and even Bal Yatmin, you can't bury it, and you can't accept a pikodin from a non-Jew. The chametz everywhere. You get the same lav. You cannot accept pikodines. Maybe I would learn the opposite. Just like by Gvulin, I can't see my own chametz, but I can see Goyish's chametz and Gavoya. Maybe the same thing would apply to houses. Period. By the way, the Rambam Paskins, chametz shel Yisrael, even if it's not in his house, it's a far place away, or his chametz is in the house of a Goy. That's why you have to sell it, no matter where, and you have to write down wherever your chametz is. The chametz shel nochri, chametz that belongs to a goy or shel hegdish, should be yad Yisrael, that's in the hands of a Jew. Afilu bebeso, eino over alav. You're not over by your road by your motz.
How would Hegdish have chametz though? How would Hegdish have chametz?
Hegdish is excluded because it says lecha.
I know, but how generally how would?
Let's say they had let's say Hegdish had storehouses of whiskey, and they stored it in your house. You would not be ordered by your Rabbi Matzeh.
Would Hegdish, does Hegdish have a achrayas to sell it though?
No, because it's only so, or by these psukim of by your Matzeh, there's an exclusion for chametz of a goy and the chametz of Hegdish, because it says lecha.
I
Lo
understand,
yira lecha se'or.
but can,
Lo
so,
yira lecha chametz.
so
It's
so
your
it's
own
still black.
personal chametz that there's a din of bayir. You can't Hegdish people can't eat chametz, but there's no din bayir Matzeh.
But how would Hegdish have chametz to own
I
it?
just told you.
I know, but they
Hegdish owns
I know,
100 cases of whiskey, and
but
they rent out your basement and they store it there. They don't have to sell it. There's
they don't
nobody
have,
by Motze. You can have it.
no, but not you, but would there be a din of
It
Hegdish?
belongs to Hegdish, and Hegdish doesn't have to sell it to a goy because there's nobody by Motze. Hegdish, the whiskey that is stored in the base of Mikdash, there's nobody by Motze.
They are allowed to keep it over Pesach too? They have no
They are.
Indian.
It's lo yera lecha se'or. Personal private chametz is by Yerah by Yemaz. Now, chametz she'over lava Pesach is a different story. We have to see whether there's a exclusion for chametz that belongs to Hegdish for chametz she'over lava Pesach. But by Yerah by Yemaz there isn't that. We just said from the Rambam. If you afilo ayan nochri zeger chametz shel nochri shel Hegdish. So if you have chametz that belongs to the Hegdish in your house, you're not over by your Rabbi Matzah. From lecha, gzeres hakasuf. Same thing if you have chametz belongs to a goy. Remember when we sell our chametz to a goy, so his chametz is in our house, correct?
Right.
We're not over by your Rabbi Matzeh because it belongs to him. But if we have chametz in a goy's house, we're over by your Rabbi Matzeh.
It's still ours.
Say it again.
Because it's still ours.
Because it's yours. Exactly. So you have to sell it. Then it's not yours. Okay?
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Omar Mar. So this is a long baraisa, and it's also confusing, this baraisa. We're back and forth. It seems we ended up where we started. That means the baraisa is not clear what the final halach is, and the Gemara is going to go and analyze it. Omar Mar. Hang on. We decided to learn tomorrow at 9 p.m. Correct? Mm-hmm. Correct. Omar Mar. This din that you can have that you could not accept pigdoinos from the goyim. See, that's a different thing. A goy comes and gives you something to hold on to and watch, so that you're not allowed to accept, even though it's his, but you're watching it. You take achrayus for it. So then that is too much yours, because you again, as a shoymer, you might have to replace it, right? But it's not. You have a goy's chametz in your house, but he didn't give it to you as a pikadon. So we said if he gave it to you as a pikadon, you can't do it. But that's a nachri, perhaps, that you didn't conquer, a strange goy, but he doesn't live with you. But nachri shekibashto. Let's say they are under your thumb, or shoyim chabuchatzer. How do you know? Maybe those you could accept. So the Gemara says klape lai. What if it's just the opposite? If you're friends with the goyim, it's a bit more of a reason why you would not accept it. It's a kavachomer the other way. In fact, on Rabbi Epoch, you start off by saying it only works by Nachri shekibashta v'shoyimcha. How do I know a nachri that I don't know? Maybe I can accept. Talmud loymar lo yimatz. That's the way Abaye learns. Rav Amar lo ilam lo tepach. You don't have to be tepach. I can explain Varesha Koi. This is going on the Baraisa's Resha. It says Shalchayat Haroyeh. Your chametz you may not see. But you can see Gentile chametz and you can see Hegdish chametz. What kind of Gentile? That's, you know, the kind of chametz that you're not over with. That's a goy that you know. Excuse me, it's a goy that you don't know. You haven't conquered him. He doesn't live with you. You have nothing to do with him. So that chametz you can see. But maybe I shouldn't be able to see that chametz because he's too close to me. We're looking for a heter, not an isser. So the heter is because it says l'cha twice, and therefore it's a heter by both cases. Amar Mar. I might think you could accept a pikadon to watch for a Jew, for a non-Jew, and you're not over by your rabbi Yimotzei, or you bury it, you bury your own chametz tamud lo Yimotzei. So amit reisha shalcha iyataroya. You can't see your own chametz, but you can see goyim, and here you say you can. Like kasha, depends. How did Kabbalah Achrayis? It all depends on responsibility. If it's your responsibility, if it was lost, you'd have to replace it, then we treat it as yours. And therefore you'd be over by your Rabbi Matzeh. The place where you're allowed to see their chametz is the loy Kabbalah Achrayis. Ki hadam l'Rav l'vnei Machuza. Be'iro chamira divnei chela mivataychu. You should destroy the chametz that the Jews in these cities would have to garrison soldiers coming through these cities. So therefore, and they also have to keep food on hand to feed them. So Rava told the people in Mechozi, better make sure to burn that chametz that you're keeping around to feed the soldiers. Because if they got stolen or lost, it's bershaychel koi, voicing l'shlumi. The government views it as if it's in your rishus, and you would be required to pay for it. So he said, "Kilchundami," it's considered like yours, for usher, and therefore you'd be over by your rabbi matzah, and you have to burn it. So ani chalaman damer dovra goyim lamamin kamamin dami. See, if you hold that, now how do you view something as mammon? So if you say that if something gets lost, I have to replace it. It's goyer lamamin is considered like mammon, even though it's not worth anything. Because remember, chametz during Pesach is not worth anything. But since since you have to replace this, it's considered like mammon. Then I understand what's going on here. But it's not. If money lost is not considered money, so then Michael Meimar. There's no achrayus, really. So shiny hacha do amar lo yomotze. The lav of lo yomotze, that means whoever has it in your rishus, you can't have it. And then there's a nikid diami. That's why you needed the lav of lo yomotze. Why you need lo yomotze? There's no moment. It's certainly a problem. So it's I need it. It's not that I mean oil v'chi is safe. Maybe if it's extant hadabene, you return it, and therefore, but lav b'shusikla, but it's not in. But since it's not in his yeshus, maybe he wouldn't be over by your by matzah kamash malan. We'll review this tomorrow again.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very.